he is the chairman of the National Governors Association, so he's got a call right now with the White House. So we really appreciate his attendance here in the great state of Oklahoma. We also have Governor Gordon with us from Wyoming, and we're excited to have you here. Thanks for your leadership. You know, Southern States Energy Board was founded in 1960, and it was by the Southern governors. So there's 16 states that are members, 2 territories. We have a presidential appointment that is actually part of the board here. Also, legislators from across the 16 states are also members. But the purpose, and it's about a $500 million budget that gets reinvested back into our states. So the purpose is innovation and a reliant power grid, quality of life in the southern states, making sure that we promote an all-of-the-above energy policy in America. Energy independence is something that's important to all of us. Every president since 1973 has talked about energy independence. Also, state resources. Using every state is a little different with our natural resources that we have, so making sure that we are promoting those natural resources into our member states as well. So we had a great conference today. Just had the opening remarks, and then we had a panel with myself and the other 2 governors. It was moderated by Secretary Ken Wagner as we talked about energy policies in our states. So with that, let me introduce my friend Governor Gordon from Wyoming to make a couple comments, and then we'll take a few questions from any of you. Governor Gordon.
Well, thank you, Kevin, for hosting this. It's a remarkable venue. Congrats on opening this wonderful conference facility. And it really has been a pleasure to be here. I was able to attend Southern States Energy Board a couple of years ago in Kentucky, and I have to say, what a well-run organization, and really talking about the importance of issues like energy independence and our relationship with the federal government. Some might ask, why is Wyoming here? Because obviously not a southern state. Well, the fact of the matter is 80% of the power we generate in Wyoming is generated for out-of-state users. And 99% of the coal that we produce in Wyoming, 99% of the coal that is consumed here in Oklahoma is Wyoming coal. 100% of Arkansas's coal for electric generation is Wyoming coal. So we obviously have a relationship. And as Wyoming, we are very concerned about the future of energy supply. Not only because it's one of our major industries, but because we believe we can do it better. Wyoming has done a really strong job of trying to figure out the best way to do carbon capture and sequestration. We're the first state in the nation to talk about being carbon negative, not carbon neutral, not a renewable standard, but being carbon negative. Climate is an issue. Wyoming is addressing it. We're addressing it with both conventional and alternative and renewable resources. And it is really what Kevin's been talking about, an all of the above energy portfolio, and doing it with the mission of trying to make our world better. We can do that in this country better than any other place in the world. So it's a real pleasure to be here, and really have enjoyed the conversations we've had. What a great conference. Thanks, Kevin.
Governor, could you, while you're still up there, could you please address the issue of nuclear energy and the new SMRs, and what Wyoming is doing in terms of looking at those opportunities, perhaps in the future?
Sure, happy to do that. The question was about small modular nuclear reactors. Wyoming has seen that really having a diverse energy portfolio is essential for our country. Small modular nuclear reactors are a new type of technology, and Idaho has done some, and Wyoming is now really proud to be part of TerraPower and Rocky Mountain Power have both said that they want to do a small modular nuclear reactor in Wyoming. We believe that that technology is not only safer, it's very clean, it's dispatchable, absolutely essential to have as a backbone for any kind of renewable power scenario. And so we're very excited about the new technology coming to Wyoming. We've engaged at the university level, right on through our community colleges, to make sure we have not only the workforce, but the academic expertise to be able to move that that forward. So very excited to announce that. And I think it is just part of what our future is going to be. Really, there is no energy source that this country can ignore. We have to look at hydro, wind, solar, nuclear, and all of our fossil fuels. Thank you.
Any other questions?
We've covered a lot of ground today, Governor. You and your colleagues, and I greatly appreciate it. It kind of centered around three kind of common themes. We're talking about ways to get more intelligent about producing our power while keeping our carbon emissions low. Did a lot of discussion about federal overreach. But I think what I found most interesting from the talk on the stage earlier was, and Governor Gordon just mentioned it briefly with what Wyoming's doing with nuclear state solutions. Seems like I've heard over and over that states are much better at coming up with ways to meet these issues than some heavy-handed policy of Washington, D.C.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you for being in there in that question. When you look at Oklahoma's reduction of our emissions that's happened over the last 15, 20 years, it's quite remarkable. 35% reduction in CO2 emissions when the national average is around 12%. That's all because of clean burning natural gas. That's our asset in our state. We're continuing to promote that across the country. And 40% of our energy production is now from renewables in Oklahoma. And that's we're one of only 4 states with that high of a number. And that didn't come from government mandates. There was a few incentives that our legislature proactively took a decade ago, and we really started wind energy here in Oklahoma. And now, and again, when you tie that in back to industry, back to business, we have some of the cleanest water, cleanest air in the country, and some of the most affordable energy, and that's also driving manufacturing and more companies moving and taking a look at Oklahoma. So without that all-of-the-above approach, our energy costs would be a lot higher than they are. So we're proud of that. We think that belongs to the states, and the innovation will continue.
Yeah, and I would only say, I think you put it well. We do have some significant challenges to face. And if you try to regulate to those, that means you're always behind the 8 ball. If you allow innovation to take place, then surprising things can come from that. And I think, what you talked about with Oklahoma's wind generation, who would have thought Oklahoma would be out in front? That's the same question that you just asked. Why is Wyoming looking at nuclear when you're the #1 coal producing state in the country? And that's just because the opportunity set is there, and the entrepreneurs and the innovators really need that playground to be able to go and do what they do best. And then America takes over, and we do the best.
How do we get the people in Washington to understand that it's not the resources we have, it's not the fuels that we use, it's the emissions. And let us get back to using what our natural resources are and the opportunities that we have if we get on the other end, like Southern States Energy Board is doing, correcting those things at the end so that we don't have the emissions and we have the better technologies to use. So just your comments on that.
Well, very briefly, I think it's meetings like this. It's being able to really talk about the challenge is emissions. It's not necessarily the way we generate electricity. It's also being honest about what that is. Right now, nothing against renewables. We love renewables in Wyoming, but right now renewables are considered to be benign. And one of the challenges with any energy source is there's always some cost that's associated with it. So we've got to be honest. We've got to have a fair playing field. And then I think there is also the role that research can play. So when we talk about carbon capture and sequestration, a lot of people will say, too expensive, never happened. I can remember back in the 1980s when Oregon was trying to get a wind generator started. Everybody said too expensive, never happened. So our country can move forward with initiative and with confidence, but we have to have honesty, and we have to be absolutely prepared to take the opportunities when they arrive.
Yeah, and my comment, the carbon capture is something that has been innovated from our industries. So that's something that's very interesting. Also, Oklahoma is one to be a leader in hydrogen, which has no emissions at all. Something that we're looking at. But I think you said something. We have to be honest. And right now, this administration is not being honest. They're canceling the Keystone Pipeline. They are blocking just make sense developments. Actually, the infrastructure of our pipeline companies in Oklahoma, we have more pipelines than anyone. And the safest, cleanest, most efficient way to move oil and gas is through pipelines. And they're not even letting pipeline companies reinvest and fix and use technology to upgrade current existing pipelines. And so we need to have an honest conversation about that. Fossil fuels aren't going to go anywhere. We still need them for the grid that we have today. And there's nothing wrong with renewables. We're an all-of-the-above approach in Oklahoma. We continue to be an all-of-the-above approach. It's not an anti-oil and gas industry. It's not an anti-renewable conversation. It's all-of-the-above approach. Let the markets dictate it, and let companies innovate and create. Government cannot innovate and create these types of these companies that the private sector companies can. So thank you guys so much for being here. I see a lot of.
Hey Kevin, always an honor, buddy. What can we do as energy leaders to help you? What do you want to see from us, in oil and gas and, across, the rest of our industry to reach out and help you guys promote, what we do?
Being and attending conferences like this are fantastic. Also, when we can push and we get the right people and the right conversations back in Washington, D.C. I'm leaving tonight and going to Washington, D.C. I'll be there with the state chamber and a lot of oil and gas companies, a lot of renewable companies from Oklahoma will be up there meeting with our federal delegation. So we have to continue. It's okay to talk about these things. It's okay to talk about an all-of-the-above approach. It's okay to look at what happened with the polar vortex that happened in February and realize that if Oklahoma didn't have coal, my kids wouldn't have been able to watch TikTok for 2 weeks. It is important to teach people when you plug your electric vehicle in, where does that generation come from? It comes from natural gas. And that's okay. We have to talk about that. We have to explain that. I think sometimes we lose, young people especially don't understand how that grid works, so we need to do a better job of educating, putting resources in to educate the young people of what happens and why America is great. The other thing is in China, in India, in some of these other countries, they are currently, I think Secretary Wagner said they currently have 50 coal plants in the works to be built right now in China. That doesn't include India, that doesn't include other parts of the world. So we have to think about this. We can't be ignorant in our policies and our decision making when it comes to energy in the country.
They have hundreds of oil rigs running over there right now too. Now they're not anywhere close to our ability to drill, oil and gas but they'll catch up, and they will eventually not need our oil and gas like, they're relying on now. So we have to, look at the way we need to be our own energy security here.
And I liked how Governor Gordon said, you said it's better to sell energy to our friends than buy it from our enemies.
Amen.
I mean, that's so true. And unfortunately, our federal government doesn't know that.
You guys both do a great job of supporting us, and we want to support you back.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for being here.